Hi everybody. Earlier I shared with you the coloring page of this sushi themed sheet, and today I'm going to show you how I paint this perfectly round texture of the sushi rolls. And all you need for this is a size 4 brush. You can even go for a smaller one, a size 0, if you can't reach the corners. So I'll keep this next to me. What you also need is like a tissue and some water and of course paints. For the sushi rolls, the nori, I use 2 colors, and that's my all-time favorite, the Paynes gray and the dark forest green. Both colors are from White Nights. So let's get started. So I drew 3 sushi rolls on a piece of paper with my fine liner, waterproof fine liner. This paper is from Arches, 300 grams, very heavy, wonderful quality watercolor paper. And I start with this one. So I've moistened my brush and I dip it in the green, forest green color, watercolor, and I start with the outsides of the roll. Just go along the edges here and then start on the right side of the roll, also adding some paint here. The paint has to be saturated because we're not going to layer this, so the color has to be perfect right away. So I have painted the outer sides of the roll, and then I'm going to dip my brush again in the water and just slowly go over the wet edges with my wet brush. And that's how I connect the both sides that are darker. And that leaves a bright space in the middle that emphasizes the round shape. On the outsides of the roll, I'm going to just slightly add a little bit of Paynes gray, like this, and then we'll have to let it dry. I can't go on with this one because this paint is still wet. So what I'll do is start with this sushi roll. Okay. Same way, paint the outsides of the roll with a saturated paint like this. And the other side also. Maybe because this is already like here's the shadowy side, I'll add some Paynes gray right away. Like this. And then I'm going to moisten my brush. Don't get too much water on it, and just slightly go over the wet edges until the paint reaches each other like this, and then add a little bit of Paynes gray here too, maybe here also, like this. Okay, and now we'll have to wait until both sushis are dry. So both sushis are dry. And now I'll start with the last one. This edge and this one are quite dark, so keep in mind that you have to make this part not too dark because you don't see the differences in the different objects. So I'll start with the Paynes gray again, the green. Maybe I can add some shading later on with just a little stripe or something. So again, this edge too, or this outer side of the sushi roll. Moisten my brush and just go over it. As you can see, the difference in gradients in this one is not too much, so I'll add a bit more paint on the outsides. Just dip it in the paint, and then on your paper. It still has to be wet, of course, and then it blends very nicely, as you can see here. So that's also another way to make gradients, of course. Just paint it like a hole and then add some more saturated paint while the first layer is still wet. Okay, now I'll add some Paynes gray just to emphasize the dark side with little dots like this. And well, it's finished now. I waited until this roll is dry too, and now I'm going to paint the edge, which has to be lighter than the rest. Just a watery paint of the forest green. And I paint this with the smaller brush, the size O. So maybe because you have an overlap here, you can add some darker green here, so you can see the difference. Okay, so here's the nori. How I painted the rice structure is added in a PDF file with this lesson. So have fun painting your sushi. Bye bye.